Hello, I'm Tom Kemnitz, and on my happiest days, I get to teach ancient history in the online learning community. I am by training a 19th century English historian, and I got my degree from the University of Sussex. I went there because there was a man named Asa Briggs there, who later became Baron Briggs of Lewis. He was reputed to be the most innovative and creative and best English historian of his period, and I certainly thought so. And so I turned down Oxford and Cambridge and went to study under Asa Briggs, a decision I've never regretted. I got a wonderful education. And one of the things that I know from my experience with Asa Briggs is that a great teacher makes a great difference in the life of a person. And children become gifted in history by reading great works and learning from great teachers. And I'm have set out to recruit the best teachers we can for the online learning community because of that experience. In ancient history, I teach a course in Greece in the classical age. This is a course that teaches the history, art, literature, and culture of Greece in the classical age. I also teach two courses on Roman history, the Roman Republic in the first semester and the Roman Empire in the second semester. For each of these courses, I've written a text. Greece in the classical age, much of that is found also in the pages of Word Within the Word One, which is Michael Clay Thompson's vocabulary text. In this course, we read Herodotus, Thucydides, and these two are responsible for developing the writing of history. We read among the playwrights Aeschylus, Sophocles, Euripides, Aristophanes, for whom we do not have a likeness that we know about, and among the philosophers, Plato. From Greece in the classical age, we get the writing of history, philosophy, scientific inquiry, theater, democracy, trial by randomly chosen paid jury, institutions of higher learning, mathematics, medical inquiry and ethics, and many of our musical terms. This is an enormously fertile civilization to which we owe so much. In the course on the Roman Republic, we look at how this little mud village in the middle of Italy became the most powerful polity in the ancient world. And then we pursue the question of why did the Roman Republic fall. In the course on the Roman Empire, we look at how Augustus achieved Pax Romana, a relative peace that lasted for 2 centuries, and what the Romans did with this peace and the control of the entire Mediterranean. And what they did was to become the most powerful manufacturing country in the world. And they were not matched until the British in the 19th century. They did things like produce 100 million pieces of glass a year. They learned how to blow glass and then produced it on a massive scale. They produced pottery on a massive scale. There were kilns that would fire 40,000 pieces of pottery at a time. They developed concrete and built with it in ways that the ancient world had never seen before. And they did it with a concrete that hardened underwater and is impervious to seawater. Our concrete lasts about 50 years in seawater, but Roman concrete is impervious to it. It is still where they poured it and in the shape they poured it. And then we look at the question of why the Roman Empire fell. Uh, Among the Romans, we read Livy, Appian, Suetonius, and Tacitus. Every life class is structured to a visual presentation based on an archive of about 750,000 photographs of the ancient world, its artifacts, and its archaeological sites. And at one point, I bought very high-end photographic equipment and began traveling to these sites and museums, from St. Petersburg, the Hermitage, to Berlin, to the Louvre in Paris, to the British Museum in London, and Fishbourne, and Bath, and York, and Hadrian's Wall, and Hexham, and various other British archaeological sites of Roman origin. And then, of course, to Rome and Naples and Herculaneum and Pompeii and Athens and Delphi. Well, you get the idea. It's tough work, but somebody had to do it. And the wonderful thing about this archive is that it enables me to illustrate so much. And once you can illustrate things, it is very possible to teach far more sophisticated concepts than is possible with mere words. So these are some of the images that go along with the discussion of Athenian democracy. These are the tyrannicides who killed a brother of a tyrant and set off the chain of events that led to Athenian democracy. This is one of the great iconic sculptures of ancient Athens. Now only one copy of it exists in the Archaeological Museum in Naples. This is a model of the place where the Athenian assembly met each month. This is the remains of one of the stones used in the selection of juries. These are the tabs, each with the name of a potential juror. This is what it looked like intact, and marbles were rolled down, and the names selected by rows as a result of that. These are how the jurors voted, with these wheels with either a solid axle for acquittal or an open axle for conviction. This is a water clock by which speeches were timed in trials. These are some of the artifacts by which the assembly used to vote to ostracize politicians. There's an endless amount of visual material to illustrate the history. In my world, history is not an endless set of facts and events to be memorized. It's rather an act of making sense of humankind's past. And what I try to convey is a sense of how people related to one another in ancient Hellas or the Roman world, how they understood their problems and solved them, how they were like us and not like us, how their physical world shaped their actions, and how they reshaped their physical environment, and how they developed so much that has been a lasting contribution to Western civilization. I try to give the kids a framework to understand this period and to put all the rest that they will learn throughout their lives in perspective. For me, these are great fun courses to teach. I enjoy them thoroughly.